Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to Chaos TV's live coverage of the Riot Turkey International Invitational 2. It is grand finale day, day 7 out of 7, so we've had an awesome week of action. I'm Metis and I'm actually going to be flying solo for this first game. Two of the Chaos TV casters are at MCM, which is a LAN down in London, and our replacement casters have kind of gone AWOL, so I'm going to do my best. I'm a bit sick at the moment, so I apologise if my voice sounds a bit raspy as we get on in this game, but I will do my best to make this as an entertaining cast as possible. That being said, we are onto the picks and bans of game number 1 in this best of 5 grand finale between Dignitas UK and Copenhagen Wolves. Fizz, Shyvana and Oriana have all been banned out straight away alongside the Corki. Fairly standard bans here across the board. Shyvana is getting a lot more playtime right now. Fizz is one of Coutard's staple champions and Corki is just top tier AD carry. Oriana, however, is starting to see a lot more play as well. So just a couple of little bits of information while we go through the picks and bans here in this game. The last time these two teams met was actually in the EUS Challenger Series number 11, and Copenhagen won with a convincing 3-0 in the finals over Dignitas UK. So it goes to show the last time these two met, it was a fairly one-sided affair in Copenhagen Wolves' favour, and the time before that, in the EUS Challenger Series number 10, Copenhagen Wolves beat Dignitas UK again 2-0 in the first round. So the last two results have been heavily in favour of Copenhagen Wolves, a 5-0 if you will overall. So a bit of revenge here maybe from Dignitas UK. Zed has just been locked in as well, abandoned I should say, as 5th alongside the Elise. Right, sorry. This may also happen if I need to take a quick break because the production is giving me some information. I may need to take a few drinks as well if I'm solo casting, so apologies for that. Apparently there is no delay timer in between the game and also the loading screen, so we'll probably just carry straight in after the delay timer ticks down to 60 seconds. Regardless though, here come the picks. Aatrox first in for Nitrix, and for Copenhagen Wolves, they're going to go Kassadin and Caitlyn, two staple champions for Copenhagen Wolves. Coutard loves himself some Kassadin. We actually saw this previously in the Riot Invitationals, where he was just decimating. I believe his scoreline was around 8-0. He was snowballing out of control from mid, roaming around the map, and actually picked up the teleport. So I'm going to be quite interested to see if he runs teleport Kassadin again, or if he goes for the Ignite. And we've seen Caitlyn pretty much every time it's been open here for Copenhagen Wolves, they've locked the Caitlyn for Forgiven. He is the replacement for Reckless, who of course went across to Fnatic, and plays an exceptionally strong Caitlyn himself. Over onto Dignitas UK, that's going to be a Sona and a Renekton locked in as well. I feel the Renekton was more of a counter pick, or at least a premature kind of pick coming in against Copenhagen Wolves, because Coutard does play a very strong Renekton. However, Vlad is his second favourite champion, so he's going to be locking that one straight in. Alrighty, just taking a quick pause to see what else comes through. There's no point me talking about Mordekaiser because I'd be extremely surprised if that gets locked in. But for Copenhagen Wolves again, they have gone for Lee Sin, which again is completely for Amazing. Amazing and Shook, if you didn't know, if you have just started watching Copenhagen Wolves again, you're like, where's Shook, where's Reckless? They have both gone their separate ways. Amazing and Forgiven came in as replacements. Amazing and Shook's champion pool are actually very similar. They like to run Elise and they also like to run Lee Sin. It's kind of two of their favourite champions, and they've obviously banned the Elise away this time because it is a top tier pick, not allowing Dignitas UK to take that one for themselves. So he's just going to go to his second favourite champion. With 3 seconds to go, they're hovering over Ezreal and Mordekaiser, and as expected, last second they switch over from the Mordekaiser into a Swain, which in itself is a pretty interesting lock-in. Not something we've seen a great deal of in the Riot Invitationals, or indeed the EUS Challenger Series as well. Ezreal is a much more common sight for us as spectators, and Sona Ezreal is a very strong bot lane. Sustain, poke, lots of burst damage at level 6 as well, and I've said this time and time again that if you're against a Caitlyn, one of the best supports to play is a Sona, because Caitlyn brings in the long range, she brings in harassment, and Sona is pretty much a counter to that with her W. The Aria of Perseverance will just constantly spam heal you up, and you should be a-okay. So, for the potential 6th pick, it is going to be the support character from Copenhagen Wolves. We've seen quite a few supports coming in from Unlimited. He is renowned for his awesome Thresh play, and also very strong on Zyra. With Thresh being available, I am a bit surprised he's not trying to pick this one up. May switch over in the last second, but looks as though they're pretty much happy with the Zyra. A lot of the reason for the Zyra pickup, I feel, against the composition of Dignitas UK here is just basically the fact that you've got a lot of engage. Aatrox, Renekton, of course, are both melee champions. They are short-range champions, and Swain doesn't have the greatest of range as well. And in doing so, Zyra can just stick down her Stranglethorns and disengage to perfection. Just knock everyone up in the air, especially against melee characters, is very, very good. And then you have the AoE damage coming in from Vladimir and Caitlyn just sitting at the back and trying to take everybody down. But with a little bit of delay on the clock, ladies and gents, I think we're going to cut to a very quick commercial break. And when you rejoin us, we'll be live for game number 1 in this best of 5 grand finale between Dignitas UK and Copenhagen Wolves. We'll see you right after this. Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to Chaos TV's live coverage of the Riot Turkey International Invitationals number 2. This is the best of 5 grand finale between Dignitas UK and Copenhagen Wolves, and we have loaded onto the Rift. So, really looking forward to this game. It's been, we had a day off actually yesterday on Saturday, and since then I have been very much anticipating this matchup. It's one that we've seen quite a few times. Chaos TV hosts the EUS Challenger Series often, and these two have actually butted heads a few times in the past. I did mention that in the Champion Select. The last 2 times they've met, actually Copenhagen Wolves have won without dropping a game. So that's 5-0 overall, one of which is in the first round, one of which was in the grand finale of EUS Challenger Series number 11. So potentially Dignitas coming back for some revenge here. I'm going to try and take home the €5,000 prize pool. That's what they're playing for right now. 5,000 to first place, 3,000 to second place, and later on this evening we are going to be casting the 3rd and 4th place deciding games, with 3rd place taking home a cool €2,000 to finish off the €10,000 prize pool. Doesn't look like, as I was talking, that either of the teams want to try anything too aggressive in this first game. Couple of deep wards coming down from both teams, but looks like they're going to be happy just to stick on their own side of the map. Yero is going to be occupying this mid area for now, but with Ezreal Positioning, Samwise positioning at blue buff, I would expect to see the 2 versus 1 top lane here from Dignitas UK up against Young Bucks Vladimir. Mid laners are going to stay the same, Countered against Alchemist Swain versus Kassadin, and that is going to leave Renekton in a 1 versus 2 at bot lane that Dignitas have initiated here. Nitrix up against Forgiven and Unlimited. That's a pretty brutal lane though for Renekton. Lots of harassment, lots of damage coming down from that duo lane. And we have seen time and time again that if you give Forgiven a chance, he is going to land every single CS and be in a very dominant position going into mid game. So, couple disclaimers before we get into the game. I'm going to be solo casting, I'm a bit sick, so if I take random pauses, it's because I'm trying to hydrate my voice so I don't lose it. I hope that is okay with you guys. Regardless though, Aatrox is flashing up on his red buff, but he's going to be just fine with the smite as well, jumping with the Dark Flight and the smite, and Impaler will pull back from red. In the meantime though, Amazing has just picked up his blue buff, and Youngbuck being forced to back already right now at top lane. So it's already looking a tiny bit brutal for him. He has gone ahead and picked up a health potion and the Doran's shield from spawn, whereas Renekton running the exact same thing. I will also try in the slow kind of periods of this game to have a quick look at the chat as well and maybe answer some of your questions. Bit of a disclaimer though, we are 3 minutes ahead of you because we have delay on the stream I believe, so that may be why I take a little while. Regardless, Paler is coming around to mid lane, stood on top of a ward however, so his position is completely known from Countered and Copenhagen Wolves, and he will be pulling himself back. Amazing stealing away the double golems while Aatrox picks up the wraiths here, and it's also another little bit of information for you guys to hear as Amazing is actually pushing the bot tower, so I'm going to hold on to that thought for a little while longer. Meanwhile at top, Yero and Samwise are trying to pick up this tower, but 3 versus 2 in this situation, the 3 players are always going to win, especially when you consider that is Amazing and also Forgiven being able to just pummel down the tower. They have already taken it down to 338 hit points, whereas at top tower it's at 1,288. So quite a big discrepancy there. Impaler in the meanwhile has actually gone to mid lane and trying to take down that tower as well. So global pressure being applied from Dignitas UK, but they are falling behind this tower war. It looks like First Blood will be going down in the tower war to Copenhagen Wolves as they do pick that one up with ease. So now Renekton doesn't have the sanctuary of his outer tower to go back to. They're going to be diving actually on Countered. Here comes Lee Sin from the side. This could prove to be fatal for Impaler. He's been popped down into the blood well. Countered trying to escape by the skin of his teeth with the Ignite, but that is going to be First Blood to Amazing, who takes down Aatrox after popping that blood well. Here comes Unlimited I should say from the side, forcing away the flash, flashes it himself, lands the grasping roots, and it's going to claim the double kill for Amazing. So beautiful start here from Copenhagen Wolves. Not only do they get the first tower, but they get the first 2 kills on Amazing as well. This has also allowed Forgiven to push the tower very, very quickly to the inner tower, and Nitrix can't do a great deal. As I mentioned before, of course Renekton is a melee champion. Caitlyn has one of the longest ranges in League of Legends from an AD carry's perspective, so it's a pretty brutal lane matchup for Nitrix. And especially going 2-0 down early on, you have to say that this lane switch up has certainly backfired thus far. Youngbuck's tower is pretty low, 329 hit points, but Aatrox coming down to bot lane. Remember that Bloodwell is not up, Nitrix is very low as well. Unlimited taking a shot from the tower, which proved to be fatal. Does pop off the Ignite. Here comes the passive as well. Not quite able to take down Impaler in retaliation, who I believe flashed. Yes, he did. His flash has just gone on cooldown, so flashing away at the end, and actually at top lane, they are going to be picking up a return kill, and that will be Youngbuck. So not only is that a kill on Youngbuck, but it halts the aggression from Samwise and also Yero, so they're not able to pick up the pieces and retaliate onto that first tower going down. So it's a kind of a twofold issue for Dignitas UK at top lane. Alrighty then. Looks like Amazing is coming back to mid again. They realise this flash is down. Going to be Dragon's Raging him away. Do they have the burst damage? Yes, they do. And Amazing is already on a killing spree. Definitely not the kind of jungler, similar to Shook as I was mentioning previously. They play very similar. They have a similar champion pool as well. And they are snowballing junglers. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They're now looking for another kill, and that burst damage is absolutely exquisite from Amazing and Coutard. Kassadin picks up that kill, so it's not a case that all kills are going on the jungler, on Lee Sin, who will fall off the later this game goes. They're managing to supply a few kills and a lot of CS to Coutard, and everybody knows you give Coutard Kassadin, you get him snowballing, and suddenly he becomes a monster. So he is going back to spawn. How much gold does he possess? Just under 1,000. So really, it's up to him what he wants to pick. Could very well be a blasting one, not entirely sure. In fact, he's going to be going the route of Rod of Ages with Ruby Crystal and Sapphire Crystal as well. Top tower has finally fallen from Dignitas, who are now firing up that True Shot barrage, cleaning out this wave of minions, and maybe going to be pushing back after this one because they're not too sure. Amazing is, in fact, it's going to be a teleport coming in, so they're going for this two-pronged attack. Not only are they picking up Dragon, but in the meanwhile, they're making plays at top lane. And I did mention in the Champions Select that Coutard loves to run teleport on Kassadin, and that's exactly the reason why. If he recalls, he can pick up a few items, and suddenly in the blink of an eye, he's back making plays. He picks up that kill as well. So he just recalled, and already he has 700 gold in his back pocket. And look at the burst damage that he's able to do with just one combo of moves. Alchemist from 100 to half HP in the blink of an eye. And that really is what Kassadin brings to the table in a nutshell. So Impaler is toying, teasing with the idea, and indeed flirting with the idea of ganking the mid lane, but it is a level 7 Kassadin with Ruby Crystal, quite tanky for this stage of the game, but more importantly, hypermobile with the Rift Walk. It's very difficult for Swain and Aatrox to lock Kassadin down unless they can land the snare from Alchemist, who's now going one-on-one with Coutard, doing a lot of damage actually with the Ravenous Flock ultimate, but not quite able to push him out of lane. The never move is the snare, by the way, from Swain. If you were wondering, he's not exactly the most played champion in solo queue or indeed at the top level of play, so I'd imagine there's quite a few people watching who don't know a great deal about Swain. But it's certainly a tall task for Dignitas UK here. As I alluded to before, this could prove to be a revenge match. They've been on the receiving end of a couple of losses, but Copenhagen Wolves have also been dominant in Europe recently. They have 6 EUS Challenger Series back-to-back consecutive wins without losing more than one game in that process. They are the reigning current defending champions of the EUS Challenger Series. And hold a thought, because Coutard was forced to use his Rift Walk to get away out of dodge there. But as I was saying, Copenhagen Wolves have been on a tear recently, and it's very difficult to see how anyone is going to dethrone them. Amazing's on the prowl again here from Alchemist, and instantly pops that flash as soon as it's back up again. So similar to last time around, Swain is very vulnerable to being ganked when he doesn't have his flash. He has no inane natural escapes. Yes, of course he does have the never move, as I mentioned before, the snare, but that's not going to get him out of position, and you can only realistically maybe hit one person with the never move. At this level of play, you wouldn't expect to see Amazing and Kassadin both being hit by the same never move, because they're both hypermobile champions, and also on top of that, Alchemist is fairly squishy right now at this stage of the game. Amazing's come around the back, here comes a Dragon's Rage, Ravenous Flock is going to get him some life back, and meanwhile, actually at bot lane, there has been a kill going down, but I'm going to stick in mid because Amazing and Alchemist are dueling to the death. Here's the last turret hit. Is it going to be enough damage? And the auto attack finishes things off nicely. So actually, globally, Dignitas UK able to claw themselves ever so slightly closer into this game. They've picked up the kill on Zyra Unlimited and also Lee Sin Amazing. So important plays there. Most notably, that's also going to be a double buff to Alchemist in mid lane, which is going to give him some brief respite. Needs to be careful because Coutard is going to be licking his lips with anticipation of picking up that double buff himself. And very smart play from Alchemist, realizing he's quite vulnerable, will be recalling. In fact, he's cancelled his recall, so maybe trying to make some plays. It could backfire though. Coutard's pretty big right now, as you just saw that from that one null sphere, chunking Alchemist down. So finally they do back on off. Bot lane are going to be recalling right now, so Samwise and Yarrow going back to spawn after picking up that kill, may be able to fill in their arsenal just a tiny bit more. Phage, Sheen and a dagger, so building the components as you'd expect, to be fair, for most Ezreal and indeed Corki players to go Triforce first. It is just such a big spike in damage and power for those two AD carries. Either way, Amazing is just chilling out around Wraiths right now, while Coutard is being a presence. He's kind of prowling. That's the best way I think I could describe it here. He's not really fully committing, but he's keeping Swain, he's keeping the Ex-Alchemist away from any last hitting or CS. And the fact that Amazing is constantly having pressure in mid, knowing that the flash is down, as I said previously, from the Ex-Alchemist, they can afford to do this because they don't want Swain to get big. They don't want him to get farmed. 56 CS at 12 minutes, nearly 12 minutes 30 into the game is not a huge amount of CS. That's not really down to the Ex-Alchemist. It's just that Amazing has been mid so many times. He's putting down so much pressure onto Swain, and that's the reason why he has been suffering a tiny bit. One place we've not really been covering so far is top lane, because they have switched around. Nitrix, if you remember, they initiated the 1 versus 2 lane switch up to Dignitas UK, and you have to say it's backfired somewhat. Renekton, 57 CS compared to 101 on Vladimir. So right now, Youngbuck is having a much better time of this game than Nitrix is, and remember that Vladimir is one of those champions that he's just going to scale up and up and up in damage, whereas Renekton does start to fall off the later the game goes. Yes, he's very tanky, yes, he's pretty good engaging, but Youngbuck's Vladimir is going to be able to put down so much damage in those team fights, in conjunction as well, as I mentioned previously, with the Strangle Thorns from Unlimited. If they can land that combo, Hemoplague, Sanguine Pool, Tide of Blood as well, Youngbuck is going to do a lot of AoE damage, and they're also going to be immobilized from that Strangle Thorn, so definitely one to watch out for. Dragon's up in 13 seconds, and you can already see that Copenhagen Wolves are making the moves. Youngbuck picks up the top tower, so they have managed to pick up 2 right now. And they may very well have their eye on number 3 at bot lane. This inner tower's not looking good. Youngbuck is going on to Nitrix. Hemoplague was used. Dominus has just been used as well, but Ghost is coming down. Don't feel Nitrix has got a great chance here. Sanguine Pool as well. That should be all she wrote. In fact, Nitrix manages to escape with about 30 hit points. And Youngbuck pretty much summing up exactly what I thought with typing WoW in all chat. I honestly felt Nitrix was a dead man there, but slicing and dicing his way back to the sanctuary of his own fountain, and he spams up the smiley face. And that pretty much sums up what I'd imagine his reaction was too. Did not expect that. Here comes the crescendo and the Stranglethorns as well, as Lyra gets instantly propped from the True Shot barrage. However, amazing. Pixel perfect positioning. They picked up a 1-for-2 trade, and Samwise being forced to flash away, and Arcane Shift. So what started as a very good engage from Dignitas UK, backfiring once again because Amazing had prime positioning, and then Coutard's teleport paying out dividends. So they do finally get their target, and that was the bottom inner tower. This means they can transition very easily into a dragon as well, especially as Impaler's down for another 7 seconds. So by the time he even gets close to dragon, it should be down. That being said, there is a ward here from Dignitas UK. I thought for a couple seconds Alchemist would want to move towards the dragon and try and stall it out or potentially steal it, but realise it's a bit too risky, and in doing so Youngbuck could just push his middle tower down. So instead, plays it smart and safe, and just goes to mid lane and gets a bit of free farm. It's also awesome that our stream seems to be running very smooth. It was an issue that we had last time around. We were quite worried if it would prop up again, but thus far, fingers crossed, it will stay as active and smooth as it is right now. But by all means, give us a shout in chat if you're having some technical difficulties, guys, and we'll try and work our best to resolve them as soon as we possibly can. Coutard very nearly getting caught by the Never Move, but was just absolutely fine. Also has the Rift Walk as well available, so he should have been okay regardless. Now actually putting down some serious damage on an Alchemist, who's just going to pop off his Ravenous Flock, slowing Coutard down as well. Do they want to go for this? Because Impaler's coming up from the backside, Dark Lightning in, instant Rift Walk away, and that's all she wrote for that mid lane gank from Dignitas UK. Though Nitrix has came in as well, so they've got 3 players bearing down this mid tower, which is only on 1,000 or so hit points, and it's flying down very quickly. Vlad coming around from the side, you got Unlimited coming around from the bottom river as well. Looks like they want to engage this. Dragon's Rage back on Nitrix. Coutard instantly will be Rift walking away. Now Youngbuck is in all kinds of trouble, going to pop off the Sanguine Pool. Meanwhile, Unlimited doing such a good job of zoning out both the Aatrox and Nitrix as well, and that is going to spell doom. So another fight that looked pretty good off the bat from Dignitas UK, backfiring purely on the basis of how quickly Copenhagen Wolves react to terrifying situations. They were kind of out of position, but instantly moved. There was no messing around. As soon as they saw that Coutard was in a spot of bother, they all came to his aid. And in fact, this is going to basically just turn into another tower, the 5th. I can't see this tower standing much longer. There we go. In fact, Yero's just been caught crescendoing out of this one, but Riftwalk from Cowtodd. Will he go down? Doesn't look likely. Samwise is now being chased out. He should be falling as well. The barrier comes up, but Zyra will be picking up the pieces onto him. 4 and 13 after 17 minutes. This has been a kill a minute, ladies and gents, with 7 towers going down, and that is equating into just under 10,000 gold lead for Copenhagen Wolves. So it doesn't look like Dignitas UK are going to get their revenge just yet in this matchup. It's by no means over though. Dignitas UK surely do have an Everest to climb, but maybe they can channel their inner explorer. After all, they do have Ezreal on their side. Well, while we have a bit of a lull in the action, I'm keeping my eye on the map just in case anything breaks out. But another little fact or a bit of information for you guys that may not be too aware of who Copenhagen Wolves are. In fact, hold a thought, because, well, that's exactly what's happened. There has been some more action kicking off, and Payla will be falling to Amazing, and now going in for seconds. He's greedy for more kills. Cowtodd coming in from the backside, 5 and 0 thus far. I don't think they've got enough damage to actually pick up this kill, especially as Zero's there, and indeed, they will force the Rift Walk away. But again, the damage has been done. They've picked up the jungler of Impaler, who is going to be in the Death Chamber for another 10 seconds. Anyway, the point I was going to make is I am checking at top lane, so I'll hold that thought once again. Cowtodd's going to be rift walking through the side, doing a lot of damage to Nitrix. He's pretty damn tanky right now, but he has 2 AP characters chasing him down, and indeed carries chasing him. There is the Hemo Plague and the Tide of Blood, and that's going to be all she wrote from Renekton's perspective. And a 30-second death timer for Nitrix is going to prove to be quite brutal actually here for Dignitas UK. That's going to be their blue buff going. Cowtodd's going back to spawn with just under 850 gold remaining. In fact, he's cancelled his recall, and he's going to be doing it again because they thought maybe Impaler was going to try and skirt across and steal away that blue buff. Amazing is waiting in the wings though to potentially make a play. So it's just teasing, flirtatious play from Copenhagen Wolves. They're not fully committing to anything, but they're leaving themselves the opportunities to do so. Impaler, does he have Bloodwell? Yes, he does. So it's not going to be the easiest of kills for Copenhagen Wolves to pick up, especially as Nitrix has finally resurrected himself and is moving back to top lane. So instantly Cowtodd and Amazing will go back to mid and just farm out this creep wave, and they should be okay. And as a testament to Copenhagen Wolves' prowess and skill as a team and how dominant they've been in the EUS scene thus far, they actually recently secured themselves a 2014 season playoff position. So they're actually in a position to qualify for the EU LCS going into Season 4. That's after they went to Gamescom and beat KMT 2-0 in the grand finale there. That's what secured them their spot. Beforehand, they actually knocked out TCM Gaming, who are coming up in the 3rd, 4th place game. Just saw that Young Buck flashed away there after both Alchemist and Nitrix were harassing him. But TCM are going to be in the 3rd, 4th place matchup later on against Millennium. It's going to be a good game. Young Buck actually coming back, going to be getting some of that health back from transfusion, and indeed just forcing Nitrix away. He's actually 3 levels below him. Nitrix is going back in, slicing and dicing, picking up some CS. Impaler's found himself a Cowtodd. Not too sure he wants this fight, and they both back away respectively. But as I was saying, 2-0-1 victory over TCM Gaming in the semi-finals. So it just goes to show that Copenhagen Wolves have been on fire recently. That being said though, both these teams right now have gone through recent roster changes and lineup changes indeed, in fact. So for Copenhagen Wolves, I said this before in the Champion Select, but if you have just joined us, I'll say it again. Where Reckless, their AD carry, came out, obviously he's gone to Fnatic, and Shook, their jungler, has gone into the quote-unquote super team, which hasn't really been finalised yet or made official as far as I'm aware, but he has joined them. So Shook did leave, and Amazing joined. For Dignitas UK, their mid laner, Cook My Sock, actually was replaced with DX Alchemist. So even though I've been running these kind of facts and these figures to you guys about the previous meetups that these teams have had and the fact that Copenhagen Wolves have definitely had Dignitas UK's number, that is with different rosters, and that could definitely pay out later on into this game. This is just the first of a best of 5 format, so even though it's looking pretty precarious for Dignitas UK, there is still a long way to go in this grand finale. Alrighty, it seems that we are hitting a bit of a lull in the action here, so I'm going to have a quick look at some of the questions, potential questions in chat, and also the items. So having a quick browse at Dignitas UK's items, obviously there is a big differential and discrepancy between the two because, well, there's a 13,000 gold lead for Copenhagen Wolves, so it's to be expected, to be completely honest. But Ezreal's picked up a Triforce and Last Whisper, which are pretty core items for him, especially when you look at how much armor he's going to be facing off against, with Vladimir picking up the Zhonya's Hourglass. Obviously Lee Sin is going pretty armor based with Warden's Mail, and also picking himself up quite a bit of health as well in the form of Giant's Belt and the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. Apart from him though, Swain just has a Rod of Ages at 22.5 minutes. That is not going to be doing a great deal of damage, and that's not going to be scaring Copenhagen Wolves in these 5 versus 5 teamfight scenarios, especially when you have a quick look at how much items Coutard has. He's got the Rod of Ages, but on top of that a Seraph's Embrace and a Blasting Wand. Big difference, and you can see that with the chunk damage he's doing to Alchemist and the poke as well from Vladimir. So from 100 to about a quarter very quickly. Ravenous Flock does manage to heal him back up alongside the Aria of Perseverance courtesy of Yero's Sona, but still that top tower is taking a bit of a pasting just over 23 minutes into this game, and that Coutard and Copenhagen Wolves are definitely asserting their dominance. They're cruising down the highway at cruise control. And Dignitas UK can't do a great deal about this because I can't see where the damage is coming from, and nobody on their team is massively tanky either. Renekton has the Spirit Visage, fair enough. Amazing will be flashing away, getting engaged on, but he's doing enough of a diversion attempt to allow the rest of his team to just pick up that tower. Everyone was just too worried about Amazing trying to make some insect kind of play that they focused him, and in doing so they gave up the tower. So very smart play from Amazing, but also smart from Dignitas UK. They don't want to be lurking and hanging around for too long in an inner tower situation, which is probably going to fall anyway, because had a couple of them died, that would have surely signified a free Baron as well for Copenhagen Wolves, which they very may well go for anyway. But Dignitas UK are in a better position to try and steal this one away or make some big plays. Look at the ward coverage though from Copenhagen Wolves. They can see exactly who is coming and from where. Coutard has been caught from Nethermoon. Here comes the Dark Flight as well, but they just do not have enough damage. As I was saying previously, no one's tanky enough either, so they picked up one, they picked up two. Very comfortable kills. Hemo Playground from the side. That, I would imagine, is probably the GG. Double kill for Caitlyn going in as well. Nitrix forced to flash away, and indeed the Surrender Vote comes in for 4-0. So overall, first game in this best of 5 goes very comfortably to Copenhagen Wolves, 18-4, 6-2 towers, and they are looking in prime position to excel themselves into this grand finale status. That being said, ladies and gents, we're going to cut to a very quick commercial break while I go and run my head under a shower. It's been pretty fast, frenetic play so far, and get myself a drink or two. So I will be back, and so will we, very shortly, just after this.